When a human threatens to lose their cool, the galaxy should listen. Carl, the regal diplomat, couldn't tell if Commander Andrus was joking or if he was dead serious. It wasn't the first time a human had made this kind of offhand comment during negotiations, but there was a tone to Andrus's voice that, frankly, made the temperature drop. The Galactic Council chamber was packed, delegates from dozens of species eyeing each other with the usual distrust. But today, they were united in one purpose: figuring out what to do about humanity. Andrus stood alone at the center, hands clasped behind his back, relaxed yet unmistakably intense. "Commander Andrus," began Perut, an elder representative of the Lazen Order, his voice layered with the clicking accent of his people. "The incidents involving human colonies across the outer sector have raised certain concerns." He paused, his mandibles twitching nervously. "Some members question the appropriateness of your species' actions in response." Andrus raised an eyebrow, waiting for Perut to continue, though his expression suggested he already knew what was coming. "You took actions that resulted in the unfortunate disintegration of the Ith station," Perut went on, his voice laced with unease. "Several thousand were aboard, none of whom were human, and we are yet to see any indication of remorse or acknowledgement of error on your part." Andrus's face remained impassive. He took a slow breath, eyes glinting. "Representative Perut," he replied calmly, "the Ith station launched an unprovoked assault on a civilian human outpost. They destroyed everything, with no survivors." He let that sink in, watching the crowd of alien representatives shift uncomfortably. "You all talk about peace, about laws and civility, yet you let this slide for every species except ours." There was a shuffling around the room, a low murmur rising as Andrus's words hit their mark. The silence that followed felt tense, almost buzzing. A Zarkton delegate, covered in layers of scaled armor, raised a clawed hand. "Are you suggesting that the human race intends to act outside the established laws of engagement?" Andrus tilted his head. "Not at all. But there's a line, a boundary. Every species has it. It just happens that ours was crossed a while back, and we've been more than patient." The Zarkton snorted, a puff of greenish vapor escaping his nostrils. "Patience? Humans claim patience? Tell me, Commander, what does human patience mean when dozens of non-human colonies are left in ruins?" Andrus's eyes hardened, his jaw clenched slightly. "It means, Representative," he began, his tone cooling, "that our actions have been restrained compared to what we're capable of." He let the words sink in, and for the first time, Carl felt a chill. Humanity's restraint was not something he'd considered before. To the other species, humans were new to the Council, a relatively young race eager to prove itself. But there had always been an undercurrent, a layer to their interactions that had never been fully understood. Another representative spoke up, a Mervin with deep, cavernous eyes that seemed to swallow the light. "We still don't understand why this incident was necessary. Couldn't humanity have approached us, requested our intervention?" "Requested?" Andrus echoed, almost amused. "We requested protection for years. We asked for mutual defense treaties, for anti-piracy patrols, even for a simple observer station in our sector. And what was the response?" He scanned the faces of the Council. "Nothing. No aid, no interest. Just rules that seemed to exist only to restrain us while the rest of you carried on as usual." Perut raised a hand again, his tone more cautious. "We understand your frustration, Commander, but the destruction of the Ith station seems disproportionate. Is there not a more diplomatic solution humanity could have pursued?" Andrus fixed his gaze on the elder. "Tell me, Representative Perut, what is the appropriate response when your civilians are slaughtered without warning?" His voice softened, but there was an edge, a warning. "Is there some calculation you use, some exact ratio of lives taken that makes it fair?" The room fell silent. No one dared answer. Andrus continued, stepping forward, his boots echoing in the stillness of the chamber. "We didn't choose to escalate this, but make no mistake, humanity will finish what others start. That's not a threat, it's a promise. And here's the thing that should concern every species in this chamber." He paused, letting his words hang in the air like a storm cloud. "We are very, very good at finishing things." The murmurs rose again, but Carl could tell the tone had shifted. Fear. It wasn't the kind of fear bred from misunderstanding or ignorance. This was something deeper, a collective realization that humans were not bluffing, and worse, that the Council had never truly grasped what humanity was capable of. A representative from the Sveltran Confederation, a species known for its logical demeanor, finally spoke up. Commander Andrus, we do not doubt your people's determination. However, the issue at hand is not merely about retaliation. It is about balance. Unchecked aggression threatens not just your neighbors but the stability of the entire galaxy. Andrus turned his gaze to the Sveltran, his expression inscrutable. Balance? He repeated. You speak of balance as if it's an equation to solve. But balance is maintained only when all parties recognize the stakes. When one party keeps taking without consequence, the equation collapses. Do you know what humans call that moment? He leaned forward, his voice dropping to a near whisper. The point of no return. Carl's throat clicked nervously. He glanced at the other delegates, noting their unease. For all their posturing and attempts at diplomatic control, no one seemed willing to push Andrus further. Even the most stubborn representatives had their antennae drooping, their scales shifting, or their appendages curling inward. Andrus straightened, his voice regaining its previous volume. Let me be clear. Humanity doesn't want war. We don't crave conquest, and we're not interested in being anyone's overlords. But we will not be anyone's victims. If the Council wants peace, it needs to mean something real, not just words on a datapad. He turned slowly, addressing the entire chamber now. And if you think for a second that humanity won't defend itself, then you've underestimated us for the last time. The room remained silent, but the atmosphere was electric. Carl found himself leaning forward despite his better judgment. There was something magnetic, almost terrifying, about the way humans could channel their fury into calm, razor-sharp words. It wasn't the bluster of the aggressive races or the calculated posturing of the cunning ones. It was something uniquely human, a kind of resolve that felt unshakable. A delegate from the Arctan Union, their gelatinous form quivering slightly, broke the silence. What is it, then, that humanity proposes, if not retribution? Then what? Andrus allowed himself a small, almost imperceptible smile. We propose a guarantee, he said. One that ensures every species in this council knows exactly what happens when lines are crossed. We're not asking for favors. We're asking for respect, and we're willing to back that demand with action, if necessary. The chamber erupted into murmurs again, the delegates now speaking more openly among themselves. Some sounded outraged, others concerned. But Carl knew the tide had turned. Humanity had made its case, and it was a case that no one here could ignore. As the council debated among themselves, Andrus turned and began to walk away, his job seemingly done. Just before reaching the exit, he stopped and glanced back over his shoulder. One more thing, he said, his tone casual but carrying the weight of a neutron star. If anyone doubts our sincerity, feel free to test it. Just don't expect a second chance. And with that, he walked out, leaving the Galactic Council chamber in stunned silence. Carl watched him go, a mix of awe and dread pooling in his chest. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's balance didn't seem so certain. It now rested in the hands of humanity, and everyone knew they were playing a game the Council barely understood.